Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to Tìandtarot. So today's tarot reading is all about why this person ghosted you. So we have 3 piles to choose from today. We have pile 1, pile 2 and pile 3. And if you like to choose your pile with crystals, I'll get into those with you now. So pile 1 is a pink cat's eye crystal. Pile number 2 has a blue cat's eye crystal. And pile number 3 has a green cat's eye crystal. Once you've picked your pile, there will be a timestamp in the description box below where you can go and find your pile, and I will see you there. Okay, welcome pile 1 to your reading all about why this person ghosted you. So you chose the pink cat's eye crystal. And I wanted to get into these cards. So these are just to kind of let me know a bit more about this person, so I can kind of gauge why, maybe personality wise, they might be more inclined to ghost somebody. So you have the 6th house with Virgo and Mercury, health, diet, exercise, hobbies and routine work. You also have Pisces with imaginative, sensitive, compassionate, kind, intuitive, sympathetic, secretive and vague. And then the last card you have is Chiron, and this is about audacity, bravery and recovery. Okay, so first things first, with this person, I feel like they might be, because they are just like a highly emotional person who, you know, is very kind, is very, you know, giving and caring. They've got these like really big emotions, so when they feel things, they feel them to the extreme. And I feel like they have a tendency to move from one emotion to the other kind of quickly, and so they tend to be a little bit moody. So I think this kind of person is just quite a moody person. And it has nothing to do with anybody else. I feel like they just flip between one emotion to the other. Also, since we have audacity right there on the top, they might just have that audacity. They might just be like, I can ghost this person and then come back, or, you know, I can pick and choose who I want and I won't suffer any repercussions for that. So I feel like this person is just very kind of, they're interesting. They're quite dynamic in the sense that they have, you know, these very deep emotions, but then they can also be quite superficial. So it just kind of depends which side comes out more at that time than the other, if that makes sense. So I feel like for you, potentially one of the reasons why they may have ghosted you is just that they have these almost 2 types of personalities, and they might just be in personality A today instead of personality B. And personality B could have responded to you, but personality A wouldn't have, because that's just the kind of audacious, kind of moody person they are. Okay, and now I just wanted to get into the reason behind why they ghosted you. So let's see what comes out for pile 1. Why did the person they have in mind ghost them? Okay, we have the moon. So straight away with the moon card, there's an air of mystery here. So this may be an answer you never get. That kind of makes me feel like everything I speculate in this reading, because, you know, they are speculations, everything I kind of suggest, it makes me feel like underneath that is a feeling within you where you may never feel fully resolved over the fact that they've ghosted you, because it's like you need the direct reason straight from, you know, the horse's mouth. You don't, you know, while some of this stuff may, you know, satisfy that need to know for now, later on you might need that kind of closure and reassurance from this person. And another energy I'm kind of getting is that obviously with the moon, you know, it rises and it sets, and that really conveys that dual personality to me that I was kind of picking up on, where one minute they're moon energy and then the next minute they're sun energy. So this is a really complex person. They're quite hard to understand, and so I think no one really has the special key that can turn them to the moon energy or turn them to the night energy. They just choose which one they're going to be. So sometimes they are a lot more mature and honest, and other times they're a little bit more secretive and immature. And then another message behind this card is, so this character here, this tarot deck is from a series, and within that series, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this character Faith, she kind of believed she belonged with the monsters. She didn't believe she was good enough to kind of fit in with Buffy and all her friends and her nice life, and she really just didn't feel like she belonged until later on she healed from her trauma and realized, you know, she is good enough and doesn't really need to work to find a place in the world because her place is with her, if that makes sense. So I feel like this person may have been going through their own personal things. They might have thought that they were over something in the past that they weren't actually over, and it wasn't until they spoke to you or started talking to you that they realized there is some sort of trauma holding them back from being emotionally mature. There is something preventing them from making these really fulfilled connections, and there's something preventing them from maintaining one energy, like one kind of personality. There's something that is preventing them from being completely honest and completely emotionally mature, because as I said, they have that tendency to be deceitful or secretive and immature. So they realize there's something that they need to work on, and so they've pulled away. They're too embarrassed to talk about it, and say that they need to pull away to work on themselves, because that just sounds like such a cop-out answer, but that is likely the truth. And so they just need to pull away to work on themselves and figure out what this trauma is, or potentially they just aren't over somebody from their past, because this is to do with like past traumas or past things. So it could be that they've actually returned to a past partner and they were talking to you, finally moving on, making progress, and then have almost like returned to that and taken a bit of a step back, or they are just taking time out to work on themselves. Okay, so let's roll the astrology dice to get any more messages for you. 2, Taurus. So this is, the second house is Taurus energy. And Taurus energy essentially is to do with possessions and, material things. And as I said before, I do feel like this person's like a little bit conceited, a little bit like materialistically focused. So it could also be that their life is picking up right now and they are very, very busy, especially with work. They're grinding, they're trying to improve their finances right now, just like everybody is. So they may actually just be pulling away from relationships entirely. And then you also have Aquarius, and Aquarius is, all about a friendship. So maybe for them, they just felt friendship energy. They just felt like after talking to you, it just feels purely platonic. They either just want to be your friend, or, they don't know how to tell you they just want to be friends, so they've kind of pulled away. I think there's just more of a friend energy here than anything else. So I think if you went into this thinking there was, romantic energy, and maybe they felt that way too and were almost leading you to feel that way as well. I just think there's been like a change in between in this point of talking where they've realized, hey, you know what, I like this person as a friend, but they don't really know how to say that. And then we also have Neptune. So again, the fact that you had Pisces as well is interesting, because Neptune rules Pisces. So I feel like this person is just very deeply within their emotions. It does feel like they're doing some sort of trauma work, or like, trying to pull themselves out of a situation. It feels like they've gone internal. It feels like they're focusing on themselves and their intuition. It feels like they just want friends at the minute. I don't think this person was ready for anything more, and they've realised that, and they're a bit ashamed to admit that after, maybe speaking to you in like a flirty way. So they kind of pulled away because they just don't know how to address this situation, which is fine because that's all a part of the growing, process. If they're trying to heal and work on themselves, then this is a part of it. This is just a learning curve. They'll realize, in the future how to handle situations maybe in a more mature way. Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of getting there. And then I did want one card to just kind of see what your kind of best way to kind of recover from this situation is, and how you should like approach this situation, what your kind of mentality towards it should be. Okay, so I thought you would get this one. You got cacti, the only pricks worth dealing with. So with this card, that kind of says to me that potentially this person, to you especially, is just a bit of an asshole. And so you're just like, okay, we're done with that, done and dusted, and you're ready to just forget about them and leave them in the wind. Leave them in the past. Like, I don't feel like this is somebody that you think is worth your time, which is valid and fair. So I feel like you're just going to turn your attention to other pursuits, and that will be the best way of handling this situation, is just forgetting this person, because I don't feel an energy of them like returning. It very much just feels like one of those things where, people do ghost. It's like a common thing now, and so they're probably just not going to come back. So it is best to just move on from the situation and focus on other things. Okay, so that was your reading, pile 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you felt drawn to any other piles, that's actually really great because it gives you a more personalised reading, so feel free to check those out. But if you were not drawn to any other piles, then I hope I'll see you here next Friday for another reading on Tìandtarot. Bye! Okay, hello pile 2, welcome to your reading, all about why this person ghosted you. So you chose the blue cat's eye, and these are your cards. So I picked these cards just to kind of gauge a little bit more about this person's personality, just so I could kind of see maybe why internally they just might have approached this situation in the way that they did. So we have the 9th house with Sagittarius and Jupiter. Higher education, long distance, travel, ideals, dreams, and challenge. Okay. You also have Cancer. Emotional, loving, intuitive, imaginative, shrewd, cautious, protective, and sympathetic. And we have protectively, sensitively, and moodily. And then we also have Pluto, Scorpio, elimination and eruptive change. So straight off the bat, this person feels very changeable to me. Like, they feel like they just have so many ideas, so many hopes for the future. They want to travel, they want to explore the world, that they kind of do just have a life that is constantly moving. It's constantly in motion. And so if you can't keep up with that, you almost get left behind. So it's like, if they're like an ocean, and the ocean is like really chaotic and just it's moving towards a certain direction, and if there's a boat that's going in the wrong direction, they're just gonna kind of almost not be able to even move. They're just gonna get stuck because the current is just too strong. So I feel like this person has plans, they have their life set out, and they're not willing to let anything interfere with that. So I feel like this person is quite like, I don't want to like necessarily say self-serving, but it does feel like they are focused on themselves, which is okay. And I feel like they may potentially have just been like wanting to focus more on themselves and pull away from this situation. I think if this was a long distance person, like someone you can't really see often, like you can't really meet up because you don't live close enough to, and things like that, it could literally be that like distance has actually created this kind of blockage between the two of you, and so it's because it's hard for them to see you. it's just hard for them to try and maintain that relationship, especially when you try and maintain a relationship through a phone. It just doesn't feel real. And so it almost makes it easier to ghost someone because you don't feel like that's an actual person on the opposite side of that. And it's hard to maintain relationships with people if you're in a long distance scenario. But also, I feel like this person, if there isn't long distance between the two of you, I feel like they just want to go and explore and have fun, and they are not ready to kind of be a mature person who maybe keeps in contact with like a solid group of friends or keeps in contact with like a romantic partner. I feel like this person is in their like wild and free era, and that's what they're trying to explore right now. Also here we have the word elimination, so I feel like they very much do just clear out, especially like they almost clear out people like you would like clear out clutter in your house. Like, I don't think they are necessarily too caring. I think they have to really know someone to be very caring and protective and like, you know, emotionally connected. So I feel like for you two, maybe you didn't know each other very well, because I think it's so much easier for them to ghost someone they don't really know that well than to ghost, you know, someone that they've known for a very long time. Also, we have moodily and sensitive, so maybe they're just a little bit of a sensitive person. Maybe, you know, there's a comment they just can't get past that was made, and so they just don't want to talk anymore. But I don't really feel that, but again, that could just be a reason for some of you. And then I also wanted to know more about the situation, so less about their personality. Why did this person ghost you? Okay, you actually got 2 cards. So you have the 10 of Pentacles, and you also have the 7 of Chalices. Yeah, this person is like a little bit of a dreamer. I feel like they don't really think of reality as something very like literal. See, we have here like imaginative. I knew we had something like that in here. So with this card, with, you know, these clouds, just dreaming and things like that, they've got all these things that they want to tick off their like bucket list. Even a ghost up here, you know, ghosting people. They've got all these things they want to do. They're like, I want to travel here, I want to do that, I want to, you know, make this much money and do this and do that. And so if you don't fit into the cup that they've kind of assigned for that section of their life, then they'll just leave you behind in the clouds, you know. So I feel like this person is very imaginative, but in a way where they kind of forget that reality is a thing, and people are real, and people can get, you know, upset by things, and offended if, you know, they don't keep putting in the effort that they used to put in. So I think they're just quite a forgetful person, and potentially someone who doesn't really care about the effect that that might have on somebody to like ghost them. Okay, this is also like kind of similar to like pile 1 in the sense of same thing, different shapes. So in pile 1, they were very much focused on like healing their emotional situation, but for this pile, it feels like they're trying to heal their material world. So this person feels like they are grinding, and to make their dreams come true, to make their like visions come true, they're putting in so much effort, and that effort just doesn't allow for, you know, other people to kind of be in their way. It doesn't allow for them to get distracted by other people. They're kind of so singularly focused on success in the specific way that they think of it, in this kind of material way, that they kind of aren't thinking about people at the minute. They're very much like grinding. So yeah, they're trying to get to this place where they're just so successful they can then finally start to like give back to the people around them. But at the minute, I don't even think they're considering the people around them. Okay, and I wanted to roll the Astro dice for any last messages for you. Interesting. So we have the Sun. So yeah, this person's very much headed toward success, and they don't really have time to like think about other people. Maybe they also just don't feel like they can slow down right now. That's kind of the energy I was getting with the Ocean. So I feel like they can't slow down, and to talk to you and spend time with you, it would distract them from the success that they're going after. So they can't really do that. And then we also have Scorpio here, and we had Scorpio in pile 1 as well. This does feel similar. And with Scorpio, I would actually say that this person is kind of like, as I said, like clearing out from their life. They're clearing out things they don't think they need or think they have time for. And this unfortunately also extends to people. I think they do see people as, disposable, especially since we had Sagittarius energy in the beginning. No offense, Sagittarius, but they can like focus a lot on their money, their work, themselves, and kind of forget to remember, other people in that scenario. And again, we have the first house with Aries, so they're very much focused on the self. They are very driven and ambitious, but towards a specific material goal, a financial goal. Not a very emotional not a very emotional goal. They're not working on personal relationships at the minute. They're working on other things so that they can then work on personal relationships later. And I also wanted to know what your mindset should be going forward with this person. Hang in there. Okay, so that's interesting. So I feel like you may have been hit hard by the fact that this person ghosted you, and that's valid and fair because ghosting sucks. Getting ghosted sucks. So if you're, feeling low, this is kind of a reminder that you will recover from it. Like, you won't always, think of, remember this situation at the moment because it's fresh. The wound hurts, but it will heal. And it will be there, it will be a little scar, but it will heal and you will recover, and you'll find other people that actually put in effort and have time for you, because you deserve to have someone put time in and effort into you, and to care about you and think about you in that way. And that person will come along. It's just that this was not that person. They were not well equipped to consider other people. They just didn't have what it takes to kind of maintain that relationship with you. And again, that's fine. But it's also valid that, you deserve better than that. So this is kind of telling you that you will get better, because it's saying hang in there, because there's a positive thing at the end of this. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing for you, pile 2. I hope you enjoyed your reading. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you felt drawn to any other piles, that's actually really great because it can personalize your reading to you. So if you felt drawn to any other piles, please feel free to check those out now. If you were not drawn to any other piles, then I will be ending your reading here, and I hope to see you next week on Friday for another reading on Tìandtarot. Bye. Okay, hello pile 3. Welcome to your reading all about why the person on your mind ghosted you. So you chose the green cat's eye. And these cards, I basically picked these to kind of gauge a little bit more about this person's personality, so that I could see potentially why they are more inclined to ghost somebody. So we have the 5th house, we have Leo in the sun, creatively, pleasure, children, love affairs, risk-taking, father. Interesting. Now, okay, we've got Leo again. Generous, warm-hearted, expansion, faithful, loving, pompous, patronizing, bossy. Creatively, powerfully, moodily. Oh my god, then we have the sun. Do you know how crazy this is right now? Because Leo is ruled by the sun. We've got the 5th house energy with Leo and the sun. You've got the sun again. This person's coming in strong. I feel like I can clearly see who this person is. So again, rules Leo, self-expression and vitality. I'm getting a different message to what I was originally getting when I looked at this file. Okay, so I'll give both just in case. The reason I'm getting 2 messages is because there's 2 different messages that apply to you guys, because, there might be, more of you watching the videos, so one message might apply to one of you and then the other message to another person. So the first message I was getting was that this person is very much like someone who enjoys the pleasures of life. They kind of hop in and hop out, take what they want and then go away, and they don't really think about things that seriously. Some people genuinely don't care when they get ghosted. They're kind of like, yeah, that's life. Like, oh, I do it too. Like, you know, I'm not one of those people. You know, then there's like other people who, you know, do actually get offended and they're like, hey, we were talking, I don't know where you went. So I feel like they are somebody who just genuinely does not think it's a big deal. Like, it's not that they don't care, it's not that they don't, you know, they're not like a nice person. It's just that they genuinely don't think ghosting is an issue. And so to them, it's not a big deal. And, you know, it's not that they've ghosted you, which now means like blocked, terminated, this is over forever. It just means they'll hop in and hop out when they remember to do so, or when you kind of cross their mind. They'll be like, oh, hey, like, you know, I forgot like to message you ages ago, and it's like been like years. So I feel like this person is just that kind of changeable person who doesn't even realize that they've upset you. They didn't even realize it was a problem. But for others of you, I feel like potentially if it was like a romantic situation as well, I feel like this person has a serious relationship that they are involved in. Potentially they're a father, potentially they have children, or potentially they're just a parent in general. And so they were tempted and talking to you and getting to know you because of that temptation, but are now having second thoughts and have pulled away. So for some of you, I feel like this person was actually trying to cheat on their partner with you. So in a sense, it's actually really good that they ghosted you, because now you don't have to deal with, you know, their shit. They can go deal with their own shit somewhere else. So for some of you, I'm getting that, you know, they didn't think ghosting was a big deal, and they're taking a very light-hearted approach to life. And for others of you, I feel like this person was trash to begin with and was actually trying to cheat with you and make you like the side piece, you know, which we do not stand for. Okay, so let's get some cards to clarify the situation now. So why did Palfrey's person that they are thinking of ghost them? Okay. So you've got a few cards, and I think that's because there's two messages here. So I think like 2 to 3 of these cards will apply to one situation and then 2 to another. So I'll go through that now. So we have the King of Scythes. This really gives me that they were a parent energy. Like, this was in the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is this deck. This person was almost living like a double life, because on the surface they were like, yeah, I'm this great like mayor or whatever they were, and you know, I'm a important public figure or social figure, I'm a good figure for the community, and behind the scenes they were destroying the community, trying to ruin it. So I definitely feel like this person, for some of you, because this won't apply to all of you, was kind of leading a double life. Like, they've got a partner that they are in a very exclusively committed relationship with, but behind the scenes it's not that way, and I feel like they were trying to cheat on their partner and lead this kind of double life, and maybe got cold feet. Maybe it was something you said, maybe they're just having doubts about it, but maybe you kind of gave off the impression that you would not want to be in that kind of situation, and that you would also like alert their partner to that situation. Like, maybe you said something like, you can't, you know, you don't put up with cheaters. So that was really great, because then it's like frightened that person off basically. So that's really good that they're gone. Because we don't need that trash in here, okay? But that's for some of you, and it might, you know, it might apply, it might not. The second card we have is the Seven of Scythes in reversed. In reversed? In reverse. And I also feel the need to also bring out the Seven of Pentacles upright. Okay, so with the Seven of Scythes, what I'm actually getting is that I'm getting that like original message. So you know when I said the person is, you know, doesn't take these things too seriously. but you perhaps do, like maybe you do get attached to things. With the Seven of Scythes, it is kind of talking about how potentially you've kind of built up this situation to be much bigger than it is in your mind. And maybe like you're being urged to be slightly more realistic about the situation. So potentially they were just like kind of trying to talk to you, be your friend, but not make anything too serious. But I think with every conversation that you guys had, it almost made you feel like things were really serious. And so this is kind of telling you that maybe the reason they ghosted you is because to that person this was not serious, and so they didn't feel an obligation or need to even let you know that they're not going to message you anymore. It just didn't feel like it required a response, but for you it did feel like it needed that. So that could be the situation here. Also, I feel like with the Seven of Pentacles, potentially this person felt like this situation was just a distraction from their long-term goals and objectives and their kind of the mission that they're on right now, the things they want to focus on. And so they wanted to just pull away from anything that was distracting them. So again, this kind of reminds me of the cheating element, because I'm getting like two different people here. So with like the cheatery person, I feel like they maybe were like, okay, this is just distracting me from my relationship. I need to focus on my relationship. But in general, even if it's not that person, I feel like this, like maybe the person who ghosted you is a friend, you know? I feel like they just felt like they had to focus on something else right now and focus their full attention on it because it's very demanding. Like it could be like a work project they've got coming up, you know, and they just don't have the time, you know, to talk to people and make those personal connections. And then you also had the King of Chalices in reverse, and you also had the Devil. So I feel like this thing was necessary that this situation came to an end because something better is going to come of it. So I feel like this situation was never going to be good. Like this connection just was not the one. And so the reason it ended is because it had to make way for like a better thing coming in. So I think the fact that they ghosted you is actually really good because it just does not feel like this was an aligned connection. You know, independently looking at this person from the outside, from like an outside perspective, it might seem like they would be really great to know and be with, but when you don't consider when you don't consider the compatibility between them and you, they do look great from the outside. But if you took the time to really analyze if you guys were good for each other, the answer would just be no. Like, you guys don't mesh, you know? So you're waiting for the person who does mesh because that wasn't them. And then with the King of Chalices in reverse, again, I am getting that potentially on your side of things, you thought this situation was more serious than the reality of the situation. And so for you, you maybe feel like really betrayed. You might be projecting past situations onto this situation, but if you took a step back and actually looked at it, you'd realize it was actually okay and that this person didn't really do anything wrong. But I think because you're so used to repressing your feelings and not speaking about how you really feel, and people kind of always kind of maybe walk all over you, I feel like you're like this close to blowing up, and the thing is, you're going to blow up at the wrong person because it's not them that actually did anything. So you're very much being urged not to do that, not to, you know, blow up at this person or, you know, have an argument about it. You can definitely find a more appropriate, honest, and mature outlet for these emotions, talking through, being really communicative, but definitely don't like blow up and just explode because you've kind of kept all these things in this whole time and now it's finally releasing, because some of those things will have nothing to do with this person in this situation. So the message I'm kind of getting here is that this felt very important to you, but to this person this is like any other kind of interaction they have with other people, so it didn't seem like they even required were required to kind of respond and let you know that they're like not going to respond from here on out. They don't feel like they needed to say anything, you know? Some people are just like that. Okay. So you got the Aries here, but it rolled off. But you have the first house with Aries, so I definitely feel like you need to start focusing on yourself, putting yourself first. You also have Aquarius here with friendships. So I feel like you need to focus on the friends you do have, or just focus on, you know, the positively nurturing the relationships that are currently in your life. And you also need to focus on yourself, being a great bubbly person, and also standing up for yourself as well. So to avoid the kind of build up of these emotions over time, when people have actually done you wrong and been rude to you in the past, you need to address it within that situation in that moment. You know, Aries is really good at, you know, standing up for themselves and being confronting a problem head on, you know, and just having that kind of communication. But Aries is a bit hot-headed, so you're being asked to work on that like hot-headed energy, but still confront an issue, but with healthy communication. And maybe have like a more light-hearted approach, especially with that Aquarius there. And then you also have Jupiter, which is rules Sagittarius. So this is kind of about expansion, especially like with the mind and the body. So I feel like you're kind of being asked to focus on yourself and growing and maturing as a person in a lot of areas in your life, especially to do with like the mind. So you're being asked to like focus more on yourself and kind of get out of your head a little bit, because I feel like you're very in your head about situations, which can make you not recognize the reality that you're in. And so because you're kind of building up this thing in your head, it almost starts to become a situation that is completely different to the situation that's actually going on. So you're kind of being asked to come out of your head a bit, focus on your friendships, focus on your communication and addressing situations head on as they come up without blowing up. Okay, and I also wanted to pull one more card for pile 3 as to how they should approach this situation. How lovely, the silence of growing things. That's so interesting. I don't think I've ever had this one so kind of come out in one of my readings, but I feel like that means you're like special, you know. So it's basically saying as you grow as a person, it's going to be such a beautiful process, because you will start to appreciate this new version of yourself, the version of yourself that doesn't get really anxious about situations, doesn't get in their head, doesn't get explosive. You know, the word silence is really standing out to me, because it's like you're being so much more patient, calm, communicative. And being communicative also means listening. So having that kind of approach where you understand where the other person is coming from, you kind of put yourself in their shoes, thinking about all the contexts that push them to a certain situation, and you're thinking about other people as well as yourself, but in a much more realistic point of view. So you are growing and maturing as a person because of this situation. It's kind of highlighted an area where it's like, hey, you don't need to feel so wrapped up in this situation. Like, this person isn't thinking about it at all. So it's unfair that, you know, you would be for like a very long time. So this is kind of a wake-up call almost, where you're like, why do I think about this situation so much? I shouldn't do that. And so that's kind of like the key to starting this growth, is you realizing the need for a change here, the need to start feeling a lot more confident in yourself and filling that void with positivity, becoming a better communicator and filling it with friendships, and kind of coming out of your head a little bit. So yeah, that's really lovely. I'm excited about that for you. So that was your reading, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you felt drawn to any other piles, that's actually really great, because that means you can have a more personalized reading. So if you felt drawn to any others, please feel free to check those out now. If not, I do hope to see you here next week on Tea and Tarot for another reading on Fridays. Bye.